Before we start this video, do like and subscribe to our channel and not miss on any updates.
Now, my dear friends, let me ask you one straight question. As an employee, what all do you expect in the employment? Now, don't tell me something like, sir, I want relaxation in the job. I want every day to go and sleep in the office. I want every day to watch one movie. Don't talk these kind of things. Let's talk about the monetary, non-monetary benefits what employer will give. There he gives something like basic salary. Now, come on guys, what else do you expect? There is a possibility of a laptop or computer being given. There could be a facility of car facility that is given. Now, student will tell, sir, I want pension after my retirement. Wonderful, very good. Now, some might tell, sir, I want some leaves during the employment. Even though I take a leave, I still want to get salary. Technically, we call it as leave salary. Very popular concept where even though leave is taken, still salary is paid to the employee. That is technically known as leave salary. Correct, my dear friends? And some students might tell, sir, I don't want all this stuff. Whatever he gives, I'm happy with it. But my condition is that I want car facility from home to office, office to home. Very good. That is also possible. Now, one more student will tell, sir, I want to go for a job where I will get all kinds of facilities, including food. Food also he wants. Very good. One more student is telling, sir, I want my employer to give me life insurance, medical insurance, everything. Brilliant. Now, why I discuss this point for 2 minutes is because we are going to talk about the taxability of every such point in this topic of income from salaries. So, for example, if employer is giving gratuity, how is the gratuity is taxable? If employer is giving some allowances, something like dearness allowance, children education allowance, children hostel allowance, how do we tax it? If employer is giving some telephone reimbursement expenses, or employer is reimbursing fuel expenses of the car, or employer is providing car facility, employer is giving some shares. A lot of companies, what they do is, they will not just give salary, but they'll also give shares of the company. We practically call it as ESOP. Heard this word? ESOP, Employee Stock Option Plan. Exactly. So we are going to talk about all these points in this topic of salaries. Other words, my dear friends, in this topic of head of income, income from salaries, we are going to talk about the taxability of each and every such component of salary which is given by employer to employee. And for the purpose of convenience, and for the purpose of comfort, and for the purpose of proper understanding, I will divide this topic into 3 components. Number 1, retirement benefits. Number 2, allowances. Number 3, perquisites. What are 3 categories, friends? Retirement benefits, allowances, perquisite. Retirement benefits, when I say, I'm going to talk there about tax treatment of pension, tax treatment of gratuity, tax treatment of leave salary, all this taxability of special components like pension, gratuity, leave salary, voluntarily retired, retrenchment compensation, all this special taxability we will talk in this side. Other side, we will talk about something known as allowances. Sir, basically allowance is something like a fixed amount given by employer to employee. Something like employer will tell, I will give you fixed money for a house rent. Practically we call it as HRA, house rent allowance. Or sometimes employer will tell, I'll give you some fixed money for your food. Technically we call it as food allowance. Other side, there is something known as perquisite. Perquisite is something like a benefit given by employer to employee. Now let me explain to you in detail now as to what is the difference between allowance and perquisite. Now, some students have a very wrong interpretation where people keep on thinking a very wrong thought process, telling that allowance is cash, perquisite is kind. That is nonsense, guys. Never tell that. That meaning is not at all proper. The actual true meaning and the actual true difference between allowance and perquisite is something like this, where allowance is a fixed sum of money given by employer to the employee, which is not concerned with the actual expenditure incurred. Whereas other side, my dear friends, perquisite is a benefit given by employer to the employee, and it is concerned with the actual expenditure incurred. And perquisite can come in three ways. Number one, direct provision of facility by employer. Number two, employee has availed from the third party, but the payment is made by employer. Third probability, my dear friends, facility is availed by the employee from the third party by paying to the third party, and subsequently employer has reimbursed. Let's take some example for this so that proper clarity will come. So let us say ShivaTeja is an employer, RaviTeja is an employee. Employee has come to me, RaviTeja came to me and told, Shiva sir, I am feeling very hungry, I want some money for the food. I told, take this 50 rupees, eat whatever you want. He is telling, sir, 50 rupees, what will come, sir? I want 100 rupees. I am telling, no, I'll give you 50. If you want it, you take it, or else leave it. That is known as allowance, which is a fixed sum of money which is not concerned with the actual expenditure incurred. Other side, when I talk about perquisite, my dear friends, it is a benefit given by employer to employee. Let's talk about the situation here like this. Sir, RaviTeja came to me and told, Shiva sir, I am feeling very hungry, some money for food. I told her, why are you worrying? Why are you crying? Do one thing, we have our own hotel, go and eat whatever you want. Then in that case, it is not allowance, that is a perquisite. But perquisite second possibility also I will tell. Second possibility in perquisite is, I am telling RaviTeja, don't worry, go wherever you want, eat whatever you want, I will come and pay the bill. This is also perquisite. Last possibility, I am telling RaviTeja, go wherever you want, eat whatever you want, pay the bill, come back to me, show me the bill, I will reimburse the bill. Here money is going in cash, no? Then how can you tell perquisite is kind? That's nonsense. Never tell the word allowance is cash, perquisite is kind. I am telling you very, very clearly. And I am very serious on this point because you have to understand the fundamental difference between allowance and perquisite. You might ask, sir, why are you getting emotional? Yes, I am emotional. I'll tell you why. Because, my dear friends, telephone allowance is fully taxable. Telephone perquisite is fully exempt. Medical allowance fully taxable. Medical perquisite, there is some exemption. So if it is allowance, the exemption is different. If it is perquisite, the exemption is different. So if you make allowance as perquisite or if you make perquisite as allowance, entire answer will go wrong. Never ever do that mistake. If you make allowance as perquisite or if you make perquisite as allowance, entire answer will go wrong and exam will go for a toss. So don't do that mistake and never say allowance is cash, perquisite is kind. So the answer for the difference is that allowance is a fixed sum of money given by employer to the employee which is not concerned with the actual expenditure incurred. Whereas perquisite is a benefit given by employer to the employee which is concerned with the actual expenditure incurred. And perquisite can be in any of the three manner. Number one, direct provision of facility by the employer. Number two, employee has availed from the third party but payment to the third party is made by employer. And the last point, my dear friends, employee has availed from the third party. Employee has availed from the third party by paying to the third party, but the amount is subsequently reimbursed by the employer. But wherever in all the three scenarios, actual amount is coming back, right? That is why we say the word perquisite. But in allowance, it is a fixed amount given by employer to employee which is not concerned with actual expenditure incurred. Now, what are all the allowances we have, what are all the perquisites we have, we will talk in detail separately, my dear friends. But our first focus now is on determining the tax treatment for benefits like gratuity, pension, leave salary. We will talk about leave travel assistance, special cases which are not regular, which are generally only one time. Those special cases tax treatment we will complete first. Then we will proceed with what, my dear friends? Allowances and perquisite. Now, my dear friends, let's start with discussion about the tax treatment for pension, gratuity, leave encashment, leave salary, special points taxability we'll discuss first, and after that we'll get into discussion about taxability of allowances and perquisites. But first let's look at this special cases, my dear friends. Now in this special cases, first let us talk about the tax treatment for annuity or pension. First of all, my dear friends, this word pension is not something new for any one of you, and I'm sure you would have heard this word pension many times at different places. Pension is something like a periodic payment which is given to the employee after the employee retires from the job. That is what generally happens. In recognition to the past service, employer will pay amount to the employee towards recognition of the past service, which is technically known as pension. Other side, annuity. Annuity is like a periodical payment which is made yearly to the employee. Now, if annuity is received from the present employer, it is taxable under income from salaries. Other side, if annuity is received from past employer, then also it is taxed under salaries, and it is technically known as profits in lieu of salary. It is taxed under income from salaries only, but it is technically known as profits in lieu of salary. What is that word, my dear friends? Annuity from the present employer is taxable under salaries, but annuity from the previous employer, that is also taxable under salaries under profits in lieu of salary. Other side, if annuity is received from any person other than employer, then of course will directly go to income from other sources, because if there is some income which is taxable but it is not covered by first four heads of income, salaries, house property, PGBP, capital gains, other sources, then but for any thought will directly go to income from other sources. Now let's talk about the tax treatment for pension, my dear friends. First of all, practically and also of course in income tax perspective also, my dear friends, pension is of two types: uncommuted pension, commuted pension. Uncommuted pension basically means periodical pension, something like pension is coming every month or pension is coming every quarter, but generally pension comes every month, and this periodical monthly pension is known as uncommuted pension. Other side, we have a word known as commuted pension. Commuted basically means taking the pension in lump sum. But lump sum also, either entire amount could be taken as lump sum or a part amount is taken as lump sum. Getting my point, my dear friends? So what are the two types of pension? Uncommuted pension, commuted pension. Uncommuted pension means what? Uncommuted means periodical monthly pension. Commuted pension means lump sum, and it is very important to understand these two words because tax treatment for uncommuted pension is different, tax treatment for commuted pension is different. So friends, what is uncommuted pension? Uncommuted pension is nothing but periodical pension, and as per income tax law, uncommuted pension is fully taxable. Uncommuted pension is what? Fully taxable. There is no exemption which is given either to government employees or to non-government employees. For any type of employee, uncommuted pension is fully taxable. Other side, when we talk about commuted pension, in case of commuted pension, my dear friends, there is some interesting exemption which is given, and that exemption is given only to the government employees. In fact, my dear friends, in this particular topic of income from salaries, we will find lot of places where we will tell government employee exempt, non-government employee taxable, government employee exempt, non-government employee taxable. Government job, privileges. Come on guys. So what are the two types of pension? Uncommuted pension, commuted pension. Uncommuted pension, what is the answer? Fully taxable. Commuted pension for government employee, it is fully exempt. But for non-government employee, the exemption is based on whether gratuity is received or gratuity is not received. And what is gratuity? We all know gratuity is basically the gratuitous payment which is made to the employee. In fact, there is an act known as Payment of Gratuity Act, as per which it is mandatory to pay gratuity under specified circumstances. Clear, my dear friends? Now, what they have specified in the law that in case of commuted pension, in case of what? Commuted pension which is paid to non-government employee, exemption is based on whether gratuity is received or gratuity is not received. And if reason is very clear, if you already enjoyed the gratuity, then exemption is less. If he has not enjoyed gratuity, then exemption is more. What they have specified again, let me repeat. For commuted pension, my dear friends, government employee fully exempt, non-government employee, if gratuity is received, then 1/3 of the total value of pension is exempt. And if gratuity is not received, half of total value of pension is exempt. Total value of pension means what is the total pension he will receive entire cumulatively for next coming future time. Getting my point, my dear friends? That is called total value of pension. Of that, half is exempt if gratuity is not received. 1/3 is exempt if gratuity is received. And whenever I am telling exempt, my dear friends, this exemption is given by section 10(10)(a). This concept is given by section 10(10)(a) pension, which gives exemption in case of commuted pension. But of course, my dear friends, uncommuted pension is fully taxable whether the person is a government employee or is a non-government employee. But if he is a commuted pension, then government employee fully exempt, non-government employee depends upon gratuity received or gratuity not received. If gratuity received, then 1/3 of total value of pension is exempt. And if gratuity is not received, half of total value of pension is exempt. This is an interesting exemption which is given by section 10(10)(a). Now let's see that, come on. Let's see that properly in words, in a table format also. We'll see now, come on. Now guys, please look at that table, my dear friends. Let's understand that. Uncommuted pension, as I just told you, my dear friends, uncommuted means what? Periodical pension. It refers to pension received periodically and it is fully taxable in the hands of all employees. That means whether it is a government employee or it is a non-government employee, it is fully taxable in the hands of every type of employee. Next slide. Commuted pension, and as we told you very clearly, commuted pension is nothing but lump sum amount taken by commuting the whole or part of the pension. Basically, commuting means interchanging. Instead of taking periodically, we are taking lump sum. That is called a commuted pension. Now see the point. Its tax treatment is as follows. For government employees, my dear friends, which employees? Government employees. Commuted pension is fully exempt in the hands of government employees. Central government, local authority, statutory corporation, member of civil services as well as defense services. Who are all covered, my dear friends? Central government, local authority, statutory corporation, members of civil services, defense services, all these people are covered. In fact, they also told in the law, pension received by judges of High Court or Supreme Court is also exempt. Next line. Non-government employee. If the employee does not receive gratuity, then what is the exemption, guys? Half of total value of commuted pension is exempt. And the employee received gratuity, then 1/3 of the total value of commuted pension is exempt. So friends, in simple terms, what is the concept, my dear friends? Uncommuted pension is fully taxable for all types of employees. Other side, commuted pension, government employee. What is the answer, my dear friends? It is fully exempt. Non-government depends upon gratuity received or gratuity not received. Gratuity received, 1/3 is exempt. Gratuity not received, half is exempt. 1/3 of total value of pension is exempt, or gratuity not received, half of total value of pension is exempt. Now look at the diagram, come on. Look at the chart, my dear friends. Uncommuted pension, commuted pension. Come on, see that lines. Uncommuted pension, what is the answer? Straight away, it is fully taxable, no doubt in that. Other side, commuted pension, my dear friends, government employee, it is fully exempt. Non-government, if he received gratuity, how much is exempt? 1/3 is exempt. And if it does not receive gratuity, half is exempt. And what is the half or one third? Half or one third is basically on total value of pension. Let's make some numbers and do it. Don't worry. We'll take some number examples. Other side, family pension, my dear friends. Already we discussed in other sources. If it is family members of armed forces, then straight away exempt without any second thought. Others, this point also already covered in other sources, one third of pension or 15,000, whichever is lower is exempt. This other sources family pension part already we discussed in income from other sources. For the last time, let me summarize the taxability of pension. Pension is of two types, uncommuted, commuted. Uncommuted pension fully taxable for government as well as non-government employees. Commuted pension, which is basically lump sum pension, in case of commutation where we get lump sum. In case of government employee, it is fully exempt. Non-government employee depends upon gratuity received or gratuity not received. In case gratuity is received, then the exemption is one third of total value of commuted pension. And if gratuity is not received, then the exemption is half of total value of commuted pension. So this is the exemption scenario given in case of pension. And of course, with respect to family pension, it is covered in income from other sources. Family pension to armed forces is straight away exempt, and family pension to other armed forces is taxable under income from other sources subject to some deduction which is given, that is 15,000 or one third of such pension, whichever is lower is allowed as deduction. And one last point to tell you very clearly is, my dear friends, if there is any army person who has suffered disability during providing service and he is given pension because of disability occurred during the service, the bodily disability occurred during the service, he has basically been removed out of the army. Technically we say that invalidated out of service. In case where an army personnel has been invalidated out of service due to bodily disability and that person is receiving the pension, law has specified and they have given clarity by way of a circular where they have clarified that that pension is also exempt. And exemption is only when the pension is being given because of bodily disability which has occurred during the course of service. So the exemption to armed forces is only in case where the bodily disability is attributable to such service. Only then the exemption for pension is allowed. It is not on account of retirement or superannuation or left out of the army, nothing like that. This bodily disability is attributable to such service. In that case, my dear friends, the disability pension granted to such armed force is fully exempt. And this has been clarified by way of a circular. To be more precise, my dear friends, this has been clarified by way of circular 13 by 2019 dated 24 June 2019. So through this circular, they have clarified that the disability pension granted to the disabled armed forces out of service or during that service, basically, then exemption of pension is granted to such disabled armed forces. With this, my dear friends, we are done with understanding about the tax treatment and the exemption that is granted in case of pension.